Hello, everybody. It's Marcio Caus here, and today I'm here in London with Robert Hinds. And Robert is a successful coach and a very successful entrepreneur as well. He runs an affiliate marketing business, and he's done really, really well. But today, what we would really like to talk to Rob about is his coaching business and a little bit about his career and why, you know. What made him so successful in this industry, and then get him to share some valuable tips with us here today. Hi, Robert. How are you doing?
Hi, Marcio. Good to be here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time. So, Robert, could you tell us a little bit about, how you came into the coaching career, please?
Okay, yeah, sure. Well, I'm actually a trained architect. Which a lot of people are quite shocked when they actually find that out. But I had quite a successful career as an architecture for 21 years. It took me 10 years to become an architect, and then I studied or practiced for 11 years. So moving over, making the transition from architecture to being a coach was very, very challenging. I was absolutely passionate about architecture. I started out just doing residential design, went on to doing university design, and then specialised in aviation in airports.
Okay.
So when the last airport that I did was the airport in Kingston, Jamaica, and it was actually on that airport that I then started to discover that I had another talent, which was really starting to help people to focus and achieve their goals.
So is that when you decided that the career of helping other people achieve, what they want, it was something that you would like to do? But I heard that you didn't know you could get paid doing that, right?
that's right. I didn't actually know it was a profession.
Okay.
Because when I was in Jamaica, I used to speak with a lot of the labourers, the guys who were on site, and a lot of them, they had a lot of potential, but they didn't see it themselves. So it was just a case of, once I really started to build a relationship with them to get the really good workmanship, the work quality that I wanted, I then started to find out that a lot of them had dreams and aspirations which were going to take them away from being on the building site, but they just didn't know how to put a plan in place to actually take them forward to do
sure.
that.
So and then that's when you came back to England, and tell us a little bit how you started in your career, who you studied with, and who you did your training with, and the work that you do now, so people get a bit of an idea where you come from in the coaching industry.
Sure. When I came back from Jamaica in 2009, the second day that I came back, I watched a movie called The Secret.
Okay, yeah.
And that was really starting to talk about all the intangible laws around the universe. Now, this was something which I've always been interested in, but never really vocalised it to anybody. I was always someone who used to think about the things which were impossible, or the things which people really couldn't see. And then after watching that film, there was a gentleman, well, most people now, the master of human potentiality, a guy by the name of Bob Proctor.
Okay, yeah, Bob Proctor.
He was in the film, and there was some of the things that he was saying, it was almost as if he was actually talking one-to-one to me while I was watching the film. So when that film finished, I then started to study all of Bob's books, all of his programs. I started to study Michael Beckwith, Jack Canfield, Lisa Nichols, so a lot of the teachers who were on The Secret. And I started to notice that I was still in architecture at this time, but I was starting to notice that I was really starting to develop my attitude. I was really starting to change my habits, which was fundamental if you want to take yourself towards success. And I also then started to understand why I had so much success quite early on as an architect.
That's
because
good.
I was already starting to implement some of these success principles, but unconsciously.
So starting to study some of Bob Proctor's material and other people's material as well, it made you realize, how you got so far in your architecture career, and then also I guess it helps you to understand how other people function as well, how what makes them tick.
Yeah, for sure. I was always fascinated with how can there be two people doing the same job. One makes himself super successful and one is just mediocre and average.
Okay.
And it was once I really started to understand as well through Bob's teachings, was that once you start to be able to control and master your mind, that's when you can then start to be able to have an influence on what it is that you're doing. You can become a lot more productive, And just by doing a simple, but just putting more regimen, getting more disciplined, getting committed to a focal point, to a purpose, and then that can really start to shift your life and put you onto a completely different track. And that's exactly what it did with me.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great. And then so where did you do your training?
I went to the States to be trained by Bob Proctor. I was coached, mentored, and trained by him.
Wow.
And I then worked for his company, which is called Life Success. It was called Life Success. It's now called Proctor Gallagher Institute.
Okay, yeah.
And then I launched my own coaching business, RC Hinds Coaching Consulting.
So what is it again?
That's RC Hinds Coaching and Consulting. The website is www.rchinds.com.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then I launched that business, and then I started doing something which is called mastermind groups.
Yeah.
And this is where you get between 6 and 10 people who are looking for personal growth. And then we studied one of Bob Proctor's books, which is a book called You Were Born Rich.
Okay.
And we then start to really go over some really fundamental principles of being able to relate, being in a group of like-minded people in a harmonious environment. And that's one of the easiest ways to then start to be able to protect your dream, because a lot of people have dreams, and unfortunately there's a lot of people out there who are on the negative side of life, and once they find out your dream, sometimes they will say things which will then take away the impetus from you. So it's really, you need to surround yourself with positive people who are also focused on a goal, always focused on a dream, and then it's easier for you to then start to implement what it is that you need to do to be able to get to where you need to get to.
I mean, that's fantastic tips what you're sharing with us here. And I mean, what interests me as well is, I mean, that because you've done your studies with Bob Proctor, and I mean, first of all, let me ask you, how is it like to study next to Bob Proctor? Because he's so good at what he does, and he's famous all over the world, and I think a lot of people have watched The Secret as well. I mean, how is it like to spend the day with Bob Proctor?
Bob Proctor is an amazing individual. The amount of knowledge that guy has got is just it's frightening.
Yeah.
But it is so inspirational as well, because Bob really understands paradigms, what paradigms are, how they're made up, and it's more importantly how to change them. So being around Bob, being around a lot of the people who've been trained by him, and being around all the other consultants who were being trained by him, it was just an incredible experience. Bob also does a lot of work with a company called Vima, who's the affiliate marketing company that I work with. And he really does help young people as well as old people to really start to find out who they really are. And once you can discover who you really are, you can then start to improve your attitude. You then start to understand how the mind works. And then from there on in, then you can just dedicate yourself to continual studying, and you will grow and you will develop.
Yeah, I mean, it does make a lot of sense, but it's, what they say is what is simple to do is also, what's easy to do is easy not to do as well. Yeah. So simple concepts, but it's very powerful as well. And I mean, if you said you're doing mastermind groups, and I mean, can you talk to us a little bit about that? And if someone watching this video is interested in getting in touch with you and knowing more about the work that you're doing, could you just share some of that with us?
Yeah, sure. Well, like I say, anybody who wants to get in touch with me, they can visit my website, which is www.rchinds.com. And what I'm actually running at the moment is a Think and Grow Rich masterclass.
Yeah.
Now, Think and Grow Rich is a book which was published in 1937 by a gentleman by the name of Napoleon Hill, and it was commissioned by the wealthiest man at the turn of the century, a guy called Andrew Carnegie. Now, what it is, it's a book which is broken down into 13 success principles.
Okay.
And it's the study of 500 of the world's wealthiest people and a further analysis of 25,000 people.
Wow.
So what I do, I get people in small groups. The book has sold over 70 million copies worldwide. I get people into small groups, and I really start to break down each of the 13 principles into an understandable form where people can actually extract the information, and then they can implement the ideas into their own life, where they can then start to see a difference in their life.
Sure. And then I bet you have had tons of successful stories in your mastermind group, right? Because we've talked about it before, and you shared some fantastic stories. Could you, just give an example of somebody who got benefit from being part of your mastermind group?
There's a lot of people who, when they come into the mastermind group, they're not sure what to expect.
Yeah.
They know that they're going to be, we're going to be delving into one of the best business books that you're going to find. But some previous examples of people who have come out they've come into the group, they've not been very clear or specific as to where they want to go in their life, and they've managed to get that clarity. They've managed to start to determine what their purpose is, and again they've started to build a vision, which is two things which everybody really needs to look into: your purpose and your vision. But we've had some success stories where people have gone on to start businesses. People have gone on and they've really started to break through their own psychological barriers, which have been stopping them from advancing and doing things what they want to do.
That's great. That's
and
great.
I've got I start 3 groups at a time.
Yeah.
But we're having some really great success stories coming out of the groups. And the
that's
best thing
great.
is that once everybody's finished a group, I then put them into another networking group where they're all free to then network and build relationships between themselves. And that is vital if you're going towards success.
I mean, that's fantastic. Well, we're gonna leave. We're gonna put a link below this video, so if somebody wants to get in touch with you, and I mean, you said your website already, so. But yeah, thank you very much for your time, Robert, and it's been a pleasure to have you here in London in this beautiful day and spending the day here with you. It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much for that. Thank you.
We've picked a fantastic day for it.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Marcio.
Thank you very much. See you.